In this screencast, we'll be talking about some curriculum mapping considerations for history and science, grades 6 through 8, for the 2013-2014 school year. The first thing to consider is that there are separate Common Core literacy standards for history and for science. They are directly aligned with the Common Core literacy anchor standards that run K-12. For example, here we have the 10 reading anchor standards, like I said, that run K-12. Now, here we have reading standards for grades 6 through 8 for social studies. And you can see there are 10, just like there are 10 anchor standards, there are direct ties between each one of the 10 history literacy standards and each one of the 10 reading anchor standards. The second point to take into consideration is that the Common Core literacy standards are considered supplemental to the history and science content standards for the state of California, meaning that you are expected to cover both sets of standards in your curriculum maps. Something for science teachers to take into consideration is that the new science standards, the next generation science standards, are expected to be officially adopted next September. San Diego County's recommendation is that science teachers curriculum map with the current state content standards and use next year to become familiar with the NGSS. The next point to keep in mind is that there are currently 2 pieces of legislation pending at the state level that would take the history social science CST off the table for the 8th graders in 2014. However, we will not know until either June or next September whether or not that's going to happen. However, the science CST is still scheduled to happen next spring regardless of the legislation that's passed. So the curriculum mapping recommendations for history, social science, and for science teachers, and these recommendations are echoed by the county office. First, use the current content standards. Secondly, make sure to incorporate the Common Core literacy standards for history or for science. And lastly, consult with your PLC to determine opportunities for collaboration and for reinforcement of the literacy standards within your grade level. And finally, we've compiled a King-Chavez Google site containing links to CDE-approved resources for Common Core.